process, the proposals of prospective developers, how exactly would you get the word out about zoning development meetings and to the stakeholders? And what would be your strategy for balancing the many voices that want to be heard? Specifically, if you would mention the Schurz High School soccer field and the Eris Brew House we proposed for Irving Park Road.
You know, I strongly believe, and I practiced before the zoning commission, and you know, when someone requests a variance on a property or to be unzoned, you know, one of the things you're required to do by law is notify residents within a 250-foot radius or something like that. And so that's been the law, and that's what most folks do, and most residents don't pay attention, to be quite frank. But we can do better with that. And you know, one of the things we need to do by ordinance is expand the radius that notice goes out. So you know, whether it's 250, 500, 1,000, 2,000 feet, that needs to be done first. Second, we need to give residents a real voice in opposing upzoning or variance. And so within that radius, residents that object should have their day in court, if you will. They should be able to go to the commission and express their distaste or dislikes or support for a zoning project, but they should also be allowed to vote, and that vote should matter. And it should either drive the conversation or be an element that's included in the decision-making process by the chair of that committee. So I'm outlining my strategy there. Let's change the ordinance. Let's give residents a real vote on upzoning and variance issues. And you know, what tips to scale? Well, that's up to the residents, and that's a conversation I'm willing to have. But what I think that we also need is we need to get back down to the precinct level and recruit volunteers from the precincts and have their input. Ears on the ground. They know what's important to their constituents and the precinct. They need to communicate that to the ordinance officer.
Do you have anything to say about the soccer field and the brew house?
It's the same process. If folks don't want Wayland Avenue closed, we need to have that discussion. It's always about highest and best use, but if residents here are saying no, absolutely not, then we need to take that into account.
Okay. John Dorito, same question.
Like I've repeatedly said, it's got to be, the community has to be involved in the process of any major zoning projects that are going to directly impact the immediate residents in that area, and it's going to spread out from there. So what I would do, if somebody comes in with a zoning idea or a zoning proposal, they would have to fill out a form that I'll have. That, along with all of their plans, will be immediately, within 24 hours, put up on our website. Then what we'll do is we will have a community meeting about it. I'll get that word out through local media, whether it be native newspaper, if you're at the other end of the ward, or down here, it could be the neighborhood association newsletters, emails, newsletter from our website. There's a variety of ways to get the word out. If we have a meeting and it's only a small turnout, maybe the meeting for some reason is in January and it's bad weather and we only have 6 or 7 people to show up, then we're going to have to do it again. We're going to have to do a better job of getting the word out, because when you bring the community in at the beginning, you're able to avoid some of the problems. So, for example, with Schurz, if the community was brought on board from the very beginning, they would have known from the very beginning that the community doesn't want to close Wakeland, that the community doesn't want lights there. So maybe at the very beginning then you come up with an alternate proposal. With Schurz, I don't think that should be an all or nothing deal. If there's people that are willing to invest in that field there for the children, then they should be able to come up with a project that doesn't involve closing Wakeland or putting up lights. And I believe by working together with the community, you would be able to accomplish that. As far as other projects go, you know, 15 seconds. Thank you.
John Dorito.
So when I came into office, one of the challenges that I had for years was there was no process. And instituting a process works both ways. It gives the community assurances that there's a vehicle for public input that's taken into account and helps guide a proposal to a reasonable end, either moving forward or being tabled. But you also need to offer that to developers and hold them accountable to what they are committing and what they're asking for. Zoning changes are very serious things. They can have massive quality of life issues, but they can also create great opportunity for communities. So what we did is we started a process that steps through that, inviting them in, make sure they answer in detail the proposal to the aldermen. Depending on the scale of the project, we take it to a committee of advisors that I maintain, that are community residents. Sometimes we take it directly to neighborhood associations, as we did with Eris. So we have examples of 2 projects that were mentioned that are, one has been through the process and come out with support, which in the case of Eris, and we have one in the case of Schurz, which is in process. We entertain the idea, and we have to be able to do that. I don't know if we do one thing, if that's going to be the thing people don't want, until I ask the question. We have to be able to have that kind of open dialogue and debate. So we're in the process with Schurz, and we came out of the process with Eris, working with the community, with the neighborhood, with the local residents, to see how do we bring this investment to our community while making sure that we respect quality of life and what our collective mission is, working together to find ways to bring these resources to the community.
Thank you. Michelle Barrett.
Some of you may have seen, I have put forth a community zoning initiative. And what that would entail was that there would be, as soon as the developer came forth with a proposed project, that there would be a meeting with those that are in the immediate area, putting forth communication, utilizing all of the different mediums that we have, newspaper, because we have different generations of people within our ward, and they get their information different ways. So you need to make sure you're reaching out to as many people as possible, so that it is a newspaper, that's social media, that is utilizing the neighborhood associations. Sitting down, having a meeting with the people, the residents here, and the developer, because what's going to transpire is going to impact the people that live there, and they can have some good insight of other alternative things that can be done that the developer might not have thought about. So you need to have an open dialogue. Perfect example is Schurz. And you know that there didn't seem to be an open dialogue, and when there was, the impact is that they are not in favor of closing Waveland. But they are, the people that I've spoken to, many down here in Old Green Park, they welcome a development. They do welcome something for that field, whether it be a track, whether it be tennis courts, you know, is the soccer field the best use for what's being proposed? With that, I would then have a vote that the residents within a 3-block radius would get the opportunity to have an actual vote. And because leaders should represent what the people would like, what the outcome of that vote is what I would honor.
Thank you.